Good morning. You may be seated. Questions can be a rather powerful thing, as you may well know. When I was in full-time ministry, I used to play a game I affectionately called 20 Questions. The game was exactly that, and then some. Sitting down with a high school or middle school student over Jamba Juice or Starbucks or at camp, the conversation usually went something like this. Want to play a game? Like what? 20 questions. I don't get it. What's 20 questions? Oh, it's easy. I ask you 20 questions about your life, and you give me 20 answers about your life. Okay, they'd say in reply, because who plays that? What kind of game is that? I'd put my fingers in the air, all 10 of them, ready for the greatest countdown of all time. You ready? I guess. The ends of their sentences were often populated by question marks, and if I were a betting woman, I bet they probably thought nothing good was about to come out of this game. But oh, so much good did occur. Question number 1, I'd say, would you rather have a unicorn horn or a donkey tail? Unicorn horn! Same, me too, with sparkles and rainbows. Question number 2. If you could eat one home-cooked meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? Mashed potatoes and gravy! Awesome. Question number 3. And on we'd go, sometimes not even getting all the way through 2 rounds of fingers, because some question would birth a longer, deeper conversation along the way. Some of the questions were funny, some of them more serious, some of them elicited a one-word answer, others a more laborious, drawn-out paragraph or 2. But all of them had meaning because all of them came rooted with an intention to get to know the human on the other side of the conversation. All of them were rooted in the simple act of asking. I offer you this memory because there's a phrase I kept noticing in this week's gospel reading, which is actually in all of John 17. I ask, or I am asking, Jesus says, when he has been found talking to his dad. John 17 is a chapter often referred to as the high priestly prayer. And it's interesting, or at least I think so in a nerdy theological sort of way. Here we are on the 7th and final Sunday of Easter. Pentecost begins in another week, but for now we make a return to the scene of the crime, so to speak, to an interaction that happens in the wee hours before Jesus is arrested and crucified. Maundy Thursday has already happened. The foot washing has already happened. Jesus has already foreseen Judas's betrayal and predicted Peter's denial. It's almost as if he's giving his disciples his last parting words. It's almost as if he knows time is running out. Much of the action that marked previous chapters has been replaced with dialogue, and this chapter is no exception. Some theologians call this passage the other Lord's Prayer, perhaps because the Lord is talking to the Lord. But it's not as succinct and to the point as the prayer we ourselves often pray that we will pray in just a little bit after communion. Instead, it's long, it's rambly, it doesn't necessarily entirely make sense. Maybe, one writer surmises, that's because it's from the heart. Just as Jesus had just prayed for his disciples, in these 7 verses that we just heard, Jesus prays for everyone who will come to know him through the disciples, through their word. He asks for unity, something, my God, aren't we desperate for today? saying, as you, Father, are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, that the world may believe that you have sent me. Let them see this glory given me that's now given them, so they may be one, as we are one, I in them and you in me, that they may become completely one. It's almost as if he's just saying the same thing over and over again as one Lord talks to the other Lord. Why? So that the world may know that you have sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. Might they know this unity, this peace, this love. Might they know this glory which you have given me because you have loved me before the foundation of the world. But mostly, might they know this liberating and life-giving love, so that the love with which you have loved me may be in them and I in them. This is the asking that Jesus keeps asking for. He begins this verbose passage by saying, I ask. I ask, I am asking. How surprising is it that God incarnate spends his final moments with his friends in humble supplication on their behalf, one writer notes at the first half of the chapter. Knowing full well the trials and terrors that lay ahead, he prays into uncertainty. He hopes into doubt. He trusts into fear. He prays for us. The reality is, when Jesus prays, he doesn't know what the end result will be. He's pitching a question to God. My 10-year-old plays baseball, and he's learning to pitch, and it's wild sometimes. But he is still aiming for the catcher's glove. He is trying his hardest to get it into that glove as he pitches, I'm not the pitcher in the family, over and over again. Jesus, too, is pitching to God, to whom he has an intimate connection, sure. But he doesn't know how God is going to respond at all, or if God will even respond. I ask. I am asking, Jesus says. I don't know what you are going to do with this request, God, but I ask and I am asking. I don't know if you can even hear me now, but I ask and I am asking. I don't even sometimes know if what I am saying is even the prayer that I am supposed to be praying, but I ask and I am asking. Over and over and over again, Jesus asks. Jesus is asking. Maybe it's not all that different for the rest of us. When the diagnosis comes, I ask and I am asking. When we feel overwhelmed by loneliness, I ask and I am asking. When the hospitalizations and the uncertainty, the doubts and the joblessness arrive, when the thing that seemed so certain that does not feel quite so certain anymore, I ask and I am asking. When the world feels turned upside down by heartache and the bad seems to outshine the good, I ask and I am asking. I ask and I plead for answers, for presence, for peace. I ask and I am asking, sometimes for that which is also what theologians call intercessory prayer. When we intercede and pray on behalf of someone else, we do this during the prayers of the people. When we speak aloud those who come to mind, those who are hurting and ill, those who have passed from this earth, those who live on in our hearts, I ask and I am asking. Of course, this type of prayer is highly subjective. As one writer says, what looks like God's yes in my eyes might easily look like God's no, God's silence, or even God's non-existence in yours. What then are we to do when we don't know whether our prayers are subjective or not, whether they're really in God's best interest? I think we're to pray. We're to keep on asking. We're to ask. We're to put it out there believing that this is the right thing. I ask because this person keeps on coming to mind. I am asking because I can't not ask on their behalf. God, I ask because this act of asking for them is the only thing I can do right now. And in this asking, there is connection. Like the middle school students, God, I love middle school students. They run everywhere until they reach the 8th grade. They're hilarious. They go too far. I have a middle school kid, and I'm welcome to rent him out to you. But he is phenomenal. But like those same students I sat across the table from, asking question after question, the words we say on behalf of others become the very thing that connects us to God. There is engagement and attentiveness. There is relationship and worship. Sometimes there is peace and calm that only happens when we enter into this place and hand over that thing most weighing on our hearts. And sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's just silence, stillness, eeriness. But always there's an invitation to come again, to enter into this sacred place and just ask, because we can. Because we believe that someone bigger than ourselves might just be hearing our prayers when we close our eyes or keep them open and whisper, I ask and I am asking. And so we do, over and over again. Amen.